Hi everyone, Mickey Jacobs here. Welcome to Angel Chat. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and jump on today's topic. Super important topic, very common for people to ask how you can differentiate between our own inner voice and the voices of spirits. So today we're going to cover all that. Super important and can be confusing to people. So the first thing I would like to bring is, of course, practice make better. For those of you that know my path to to be able to channel spirit, is a great amount of work, great amount of practices of quieting the mind, what I refer to as well as a spiritual lifestyle. If you want to learn how to communicate with spirit in a way that you have kind of a harmony, if you will, in mind, body, spirit, meaning the mind have to be disciplined. If you have too much negativity, ego, drama, fighting, gossip, then the mind really is too busy, and even if you meditate prior to try to do channeling, that's not going to work. So again, communicating with spirit does require daily work, does require daily dedication and consistency. It's a hard work, but if I did it, and I was probably the age of 32 or so, didn't come from a spiritual background at all, and just taught myself how to do that, then everyone can do it, which is why it is a big part of my teaching to tell people, if I do it, you can do it. But it does require work. So that's the first basic, obviously, because naturally, if I will explain today how you can differentiate between our inner voice and that of spirit, there's a little dog there, ladybug is there. And you don't do the daily work, it doesn't matter. You won't be able to channel, or worse, you would think you channel where in fact you don't, and it is your inner voice. So I like to bring that spiritual work that we need to do prior to achieving a successful spirit communication. So first of all, spirit, I refer to all spirits. So that could be departed loved one, that could be spirit guide, that could be angels, all that refer to spirit communication, that could be departed pets. Because once you get the ability to communicate with spirit and certainly differentiate who's who, your own inner voice, and if you detect his spirit, you simply ask who they are and they tell us. So just important piece of information to know that you don't need to learn how to communicate with angels and work differently about how to communicate with spirit guides. Spirit are spirit. So there's main symptoms, I guess I can use the phrase, for you to know that it is the main rule for you to know that indeed you are communicating with spirit and not your inner voice, is two things. First of all, it's if you pay attention really to our inner voice, which has to do with the mind, it is always negative. Even if we do have some sort of a positive thought, there is always either a but or either a fear at the end. There is always a negative. So it's very, very easy to understand that our inner voice, usually negative, usually expressing of fears, of anger, of negativity, usually that would be negative. So where in fact the channeling from spirits, all spirit, never harsh, never negative, never swearing. Sometimes clients come to me where they went to another medium and they claim that the guide was swearing. That is not spirit. I have never encountered in 18 years of channeling the spirit world anything that is a harsh word or disrespectful work. Having said that, spirit, certainly our spirit guide, can indeed be strict, that they can be disappointed if they're trying to lead us to certain behavior or certainly help us to grow spiritually, and we stuck or refuse to hear them or to listen to them. They can get again strict. They can be strict teachers. That's their job, of course. but never negative. So right off the bat, it was the easiest for me at the beginning to differentiate when I kind of got the idea that if it is my inner voice, then it is always negative, and it's also kind of, wow, it's windy all of a sudden, guys. It's also kind of closer to us, our inner voice kind of closer to us, meaning right there, loud a little bit, meaning you can really hear it, you know, loud. And spirit channeling are a little bit further in a distance, almost like always soft, as we cover, always not harsh. The words are a little bit, usually a little bit better than our own English. That was very interesting at the beginning, that I was holding the remote of the iPad. In the beginning, when I was channeling, certainly in automatic writing, it was very obvious to me that it was really not my English. And back then, my English, believe it or not, were way worse than now. The accent as well as the actual English, obviously, again, that was a long time ago. And the English is different. The words they use is different. Whether you're foreign or not, doesn't matter. It's like really what you realize, that it's not you. It's out of character for you to say that to yourself. And believe it or not, at the beginning, the first sentence, which was from the Archangel Michael, he is the most chatty angel, kind of jump to talk to us if we are indeed providing the intention of learning to communicate with them. So Archangel Michael really anxious, very excited to talk to us human beings. So at the beginning, he would say, I love you, which they always, always, always include, of course. And I would say, well, that's out of character because we were not going to say that to ourselves. So then over the years, it is a really easy sign to realize that it's typically things we won't tell ourselves, and they know that we can differentiate it by that, so they will tell us things out of nowhere, that words, in my case English, that all of a sudden was a little bit more higher English. So again, they will use their style, what they say, different than ours, for us to actually know that this is indeed not us, this is not our inner voice. So now we have the fact that it's never negative, it's always soft, it's in the background, kind of a little bit more quiet, which why to spirit communication you need to stop the chattering in your mind, you need to discipline the ego, which why I touch it right away. You need to be a little bit more aligned, or the channel that extends from the crown chakra should be a little bit more or less, a little bit more clear. You will have to be in a little bit more an uplifting state. If I come to a reading drunk or smoke weed, I'm giving actually a real example, or bothered, or my mind is all into some fight that I have, or gossip, or negative, I will absolutely not hear spirit as clear, or worse, misinterpret the information. So again, does that mean that Mickey perfect? By no means, there is no such a thing, of course, but I just simply know what work now in regard to a successful spirit communication. So we have those things kind of in the background. It doesn't sound like us. They would say things that if we to apply even logic or common sense, you would say that is not me, obviously. Again, the openness to spirit communication, the openness. Listen, spirit communication is have its own. Everyone think it's really great. It is really great. We can all do that any age of life. It does take a lot of hard work. But you kind of want to do it for the wrong reason. Spirit communication require great respect to the process. Those are spirit, those are very elevated soul that earn to be spirit guide. They remain in the spirit world and help each one of us. Certainly angel are elevated light being. So there is a respect for that, of course. Or if it's a departed loved one, obviously there is a respect there as well. So you want to do that. A lot of people think think it's great, and they realize, well, not really, or the work was too hard. So there is criterias that you need to kind of keep in mind. Not sure criteria is the right word. There is conditions that you need to keep in mind, that you project the energy, that you're doing it for the right thing, for the right reason, that you're doing it with respect to the process, that you believe in it. If you have too much doubt, which took me a while, obviously, to get rid of the doubt that indeed I do channel spirit, and that comes from validation of other people tell you, obviously. Once you do all those things, for the most part, they don't expect us to be perfect, which why they help us so much when we do try to open a channel for them. Then it is absolutely guaranteed success. So after, but then you have to keep doing the work, obviously. So those really are the main reason, guys. Those really are the main ways to achieve knowledge of knowing if it is between your inner voice and spirit. Also, as I mentioned at the beginning, practice make better. The more you do that, the more you channel them, the more you work on your doubt, the more you work on your ability to obviously quiet the mind. Biggest obstacle to anything in spirituality, it is the mind that we need to conquer or discipline, which include the ego as well, which is that negative energy within us. So once you realize that, once you able to differentiate between your own inner voice, which is very easy, just need practice like everything else in spirituality, of course. You need to just go and on and on and on until you kind of know. Once you know, once a channel of communication is open up, naturally you ask who they are. But even that, I can tell right now, if when a client come to me for a reading, I can tell if it is the spirit guides. I don't have to ask him, are you a spirit guides? Because their style, their spirit guide usually take over a reading, provide a lot of life advice, provide a lot of information in all area in life. So I can tell right away. They also feel to me a certain way, so I just know it. Sometimes they say, with a spirit guide, sometimes they don't. Angels feel a little completely different than the spirit guide. Not good, not bad, they're completely just different. Their purpose is different. They are different light being. Angel a little bit more elevated than spirit guide, just different. So again, practice more better, practice make better. When you know who it is, you can ask them. Of course, departed loved one, obviously they come in and mention who they are to the seeker or to the client. So again, the main thing you want to take is that spiritual lifestyle you need to create for yourself to give yourself the best opportunity to communicate with spirit. And once you do that, they will help us. Like I said, they will help us to make sure that we come to a point where we said, I didn't say that, it's impossible. That's not something I would say, of course. So it's easy, guys. It just requires a great amount of work. Accept it. Spirituality doesn't come easy for us, but the consequences, once we start getting a little bit more elevated in spirituality, then we get a lot of reward. There is nothing, no reward. If there was no reward, then no one would bother to climb up in spirituality. But we do get a lot of reward from the Creator, from the way things are. When we give, we get a lot back. So certainly worthwhile the effort. So I hope that helped a little bit, guys. Try it out. Practice make better once again. And I hope that you can apply the information. Thank you, guys. I will talk to you next time. Take care. Bye.